welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call. This is Jared Rand. This is for Thursday, November 21, 2024. A bit past 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Things are crazy out there. We'll be having a reverse aging health call tomorrow night, Friday, November 22nd, at a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We've got some really key issues to cover. See, you've heard me talk about the technologies that we're bringing to the civilization on this planet. And as I've emphasized, these are training wheels. This is a way to accelerate in real time on a natural approach for the civilization, because once each of us discovers that we've established a deep connection with the spiritual source of infinite energy inside, right? Once we do that, our bodies will exist in a state of absolute health and vitality forever. Forever. But much more so, because on average, many moons ago, our ancestors lived to be 900 to 3,000 years naturally. Okay? But we will advance that much more. So what I'm saying is that how crucial it is for us to discover truly and to knowingly reconnect with this power that we are within these bodies. Then at that point we sustain our physical well-being for as long as we choose. Period. It's no different. And of course, when you do that, you're in heart-mind, you're not in ego-mind. See, we've talked about this for quite some time, where your ego-mind is looking for peace, and it never finds it because it looks for peace outside there, and it then begins to believe there is no peace for it. So, but when we make this transition fully to heart-mindedness, and we reconnect with the power, the source of power that we are within these bodies, then everything completely shifts. And so we're disease-free, immortal to a certain extent, and we manifest things instantaneously. So you can see what I'm talking about. See, we bring in rod-range replicator, celestial chamber, and eventually we will be able to do that, and those technologies won't be needed. See what I mean? We won't age. It will be our decision to, when we decide that, this life, we've done everything we wanted into it, we've experienced, and now it's time to leave this body. Period. And it's no traumatic thing or anything. You lay down, you leave the body. Body ceases to operate. This is how it was designed, believe it or not, until we became so miscombobulated, where we've got all this confusion about who and what we are, and you got about 60, 70,000 religions on the planet, and man-made, and you got all this stuff going on, and we've been heavily immersed and programmed into the material physical world. So there's a lot of excess piled on top of us that we didn't ask for. It's not like we say, oh yeah, come on, bring this in, and no, we didn't ask for it. It was kind of forced upon us. But see, this is what this is all about for the civilization. We establish a deep connection with the spiritual source of infinite energy inside of us. And once we do this, our bodies will exist in a state of absolute health and vitality forever. And massive positive change begins with one simple choice: the decision to relax deeply into the experience you're having right now. Once you consciously and continuously choose this, you can release your rushing habit and lifestyle that believes there's somewhere better than here now. Only then can we access the ability to give ourselves permission to relax. And when we have no concept of time and are truly honoring the timeless eternal beings that we truly are, we can actually relax into the core of our innermost being, the source of the power. We are omnipotently powerful beings in these bodies. That's why it's so ironic. How do you shut that down? Well, like the dark forces have done. They shut it down generation after generation, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and program us in the wrong direction. In other words, program us to believe that we are not. Say. And as an observer or watcher, you can pick that up everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. Not as a judgment, but as an observation. Notice how so many of us push and pull against time in our lives. It's like, how do we force life to be something other than what we are? How are our relationships with people, situations, money, job, and ourselves? Is it stressful? How often do we go with the flow or struggle to move upstream? So notice what your relationship is like with time and what type of relationship with time that you can have that will truly satisfy you. Now, if you're used to thinking, how can I get more of X, Y, Z and get away from A, B, C, then you'll never find that destination, that golden palace with diamond floors and walls. Even when your desires get manifested, the ego is pleased just momentarily. What does it feel like to release the idea that your desires need to be achieved at a certain time and move into the present moment of feeling, what is my experience of life in this now moment? When we are simply here now, the blissful peace and a magical stillness arises within our very being when the mind is silent, not asking but receiving life. The Shakti energy has nowhere else to go but into you, because you are now here in stillness. Now you can maintain the deep stillness inside for several weeks, months, or even years, depending on how much internal, mental, and emotional negative thinking habits you've stopped analyzing and repressing on the inside, and started letting them fully go as they arise. By abiding in this space of stillness inside, something magical occurs along the way. you start seeing your dreams and desires become manifested before your very eyes. By staying present in the now, paying close attention to the innermost core of your being, watching the mind play out its drama, and not being attached to the scenes, you become an exotic master of your life. So it's kind of like we're all just kind of floating or sitting, whatever, however you want to describe it, and we're watching our life, okay? We're watching the ego mind, we're watching the heart mind. We're watching all this transpire. And a lot of things that come in. And, you know, normally you would be rushed about in certain ways, but you just kind of kick back and let it flow through. See, you're not jumping on the train, so to speak. You're just letting it flow right through. And we just continually relax in the body in the now. And all that other stuff, it's like, what would we do? Imagine this. What would we do if all of a sudden there were no clocks, no smartphones, nowhere to tell the time, no wristwatches, no wall clocks, no nothing, all right? What would we do? No, in fact, nothing would be able to tell us the time. You go to your computer, you look at where the time is, and you go, there's no time there. What time is it? How do you think we would respond to that? It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Now, those of us who understand and comprehend the fact that we don't participate. You have a drum set. Everybody's got a drum set. And we all decide to dance to the beat of our drums. Right? And so we create the way we desire our life or want our lives to be. We manifest whatever it is we need or want. And we enjoy life. Now, obviously, people that are heavily steeped in the time constriction that's been instilled on this planet is quite interesting, because many people are prisoners. They've made themselves prisoners of time. Time is their jailer. And so you don't think about it, right? Because it's been there so long. And again, it's a habit. So you say, wow, you couldn't, a lot of people say, no way, that they would need time to tell them how to live and what to do and when to do it. You see how it's structured? Time doesn't exist. It really doesn't. And a lot of species use forms of time, but it really doesn't exist. It's a creation. You remember at one time on this planet, we didn't have any clocks, or, you know, we didn't even have sundials. So we would do our thing as long as there was light, and then when dark came, usually we would rest. And we didn't really say, well, I got to get there by 3 p.m. We got there when we got there. Okay. So now one might say, well, it's structure. It's, we have to have that structure. But you'll begin to, if you haven't already, this is seeping in a little bit at a time. You will become more and more responsible for your life, and with open arms. It's not going to be a forced thing. You'll adapt more and more to it, embrace it more. And this incessant rushing of the civilization will slowly cease. Rushing to get somewhere. Well, where are you going? I don't know. I just know I got to keep going forward. It gets there sooner or later. I don't know what it is that I'm getting to. And then there's others that say, yeah, I know what it is. I'm going to get there and everything's going to be hunky-dory and wonderful. Then they get there and they say, wow, this is a letdown. I thought sure it was going to be a lot more spectacular than this. See, that's where ego mind comes in, and expectation and attachment to outcomes. It is a fine line, because when you desire something, you get excited about it. Okay? Enthusiasm. You get excited about it and everything. But at the same time, you're not counting on it. That's the attachment, see? So that's why it's kind of a real careful maneuvering. So you get excited about them, but you're not counting on it, okay? But you're excited about it. So you're saying, well, you know, this comes in great, and if it doesn't, great. It's not either way. And that's where it gets, where people say, well, that doesn't make much sense, or, you know, why would I do that? And, well, you don't care to have attachment to it, because as soon as we attach to something, we suffer. If we're let down or disappointed or all those things. Now, this is where we're going. This is the evolution of this civilization. It is a spiritual evolution. It isn't scientific. And the twisted truth of all of this is that if you can just relax, you simply cannot miss the magical core of your innermost being. There may be lifetimes of issues in your way, yet you do not have to figure them all out to drop into a state of relaxation inside. And once you realize that your mind has been working so hard, trying to achieve so much in the outer world by strategizing, analyzing, and constantly efforting, you simply let it go. And you just relax into your core and see the powerful manifester you already are. See, we already have it. It's not like we got to go out and develop it or be trained. We have it. It's innate within the core of our being, our existence. See, and we've got this, we've accumulated so many things. And in this life, and not including all the other lives, and we've got so many things on top of so many things on top of so many things on top of so many things. And this is why so many of us get lost. See, when we come full circle with ourselves, and when you are able to clearly be quiet, speak your truth, and not be afraid of your greatest energy, you'll wake up in the golden castle and realize that you were living here all along. This is all about looking within ourselves, period, and discovering, or some might say rediscovering, the gods that we are in these bodies, this pure, unadulterated power, this super strong energy. And this is where it gets dicey when we enter these bodies and we get lost. We do, we get lost. We really don't have a clue in the beginning. So what do? We rely on an old, antiquated process. You know, you're a child, the body grows, and maybe you have children, and the same thing happens over and over and over again. This is why we're in a repetitive circle. You know, a merry-go-round. Remember as a kid, you'd get that, sometimes you get that merry-go-round going so fast, right? Because it was fun. That you couldn't get off of it. It was going so fast. Now, some of us, daring enough, would kind of just jump off and run. As we'd jump off, we'd be running. So we wouldn't tumble and fall. And it's like that. Many of us are afraid to get off the merry-go-round because of the fact that it's going so fast that we're afraid we're going to hurt ourselves. So we stay on the merry-go-round. And that merry-go-round is what this life has been for so long, where we just keep repeating things. Information just keeps handed down. It isn't much different, the core of it, and this is why we have this redundancy on our planet, where we just keep repeating things. Now, some of us will get off the merry-go-round and start to experience a whole different existence than what we were experiencing on the merry-go-round. And the reason that is because you can see all the variables that have accumulated within each and every one of us through social conditioning on the planet. So we all have these variances and directions and all kinds of stuff. And these variances and directions are very confusing at times. But we have kind of this structured format where we're processed through the years and programmed. And you can, as a watcher observer, you can see this pretty clearly, that the civilization is conditioned to be a certain way when it all boils down to it. You are, and of course we're talking from the body standpoint. You're born, the body grows. You have a life, and you do things in that life, and then the body deteriorates, and you leave. Okay? That's what it is. We do that every time. And most of see what happens when we don't know who and what we are, then we're on the same path, all of us, but we feel like we're lost because we don't know the way. Because we haven't discovered who and what we are. And there's so many that are scared. They're scared crazy to go within and find out who and what they are. It's unreal. It's crazy. Why would you be afraid to go in and meet the God that you are? It doesn't make any sense. But because of programming and certain cycles on this planet, they're very fearful to go within. And all that's there is pure, deep, eternal love. That's it. Right? Bliss, joy, happiness, contentment, peace, tranquility, benevolence. It's all inside of us. It's like you've heard me say, we don't need someone to crawl into bed with us. We have the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love within us. It's like this universe loves us deeply and eternally all the time. Forgives us instantaneously. Because it knows we're experiencing. And there really isn't any mistakes. It's an experience. That's the truth. See, the word mistakes is created to what? Make you feel guilty. Make you feel what? Unempowered. But in truth, we experience. That's it. Like Hal over here, he'll experience something, and then someone else says, wow, Hal, that's quite an experience. Instead of saying, boy, what a mistake you made. See what I mean? There's a big difference in verbal vibrational frequencies. It's like, hey, Mary, how did you like that experience? Or instead of saying, Mary, man, you really screwed up. What a horrible mistake. And the experience is the truthfulness of it. It's just, well, that was a heck of an experience I just had. What did I learn from it? See, our limited vocabulary and communications on this planet is very thin. a lot of the words that emit vibrational frequencies, we shouldn't even use them. It's like changing all our music on this planet to be in the lower dark matter per frequencies. You know, what is it, 442? Right? And if you look at, you got to really, this is why I say observe and watch. So when you're looking at things, right, you're not in a hurry, you're not rushing, but you just kick back, relaxing your body, and you're watching things. And you're saying, wow, I can see how the civilization has been so manipulated and suppressed. I mean, you know, they convinced all of us for a very long time that we were the body. Right? And then they set up this boogeyman scenario where, you know, hey, you're going to leave the body, you're going to cross over. What am I going to cross over to? Is it real, or is it another facsimile? Is it something that has been created to entertain me and to keep me off the scent of who and what I really am? How many of us, when we leave the body, know who and what we are? I don't know, because I think it's so minuscule, it really doesn't make an impact. One might say, so you're sharing me that we leave these bodies and we don't know who and what we are. Exactly. That's why you carry the image of the body that you just left. Why? This is why you're going to start seeing longevity to become front and center. But from a spirituality standpoint and perspective, because we need more time. And there we go with time. We need to be longer in the body, and the body has to be healthy and happy during that whole time period so that we can discover who and what we exactly are in these bodies. And rediscover many other things that we don't remember. In eventuality, the civilization will become a high spiritual existence where we know who and what we are, where we have 100% faith, trust, and confidence in ourselves in this universe, where we live in the heart-mind, where we have literally mastered the ego mind. Ego mind has now vanished, and we have mastered our thoughts. That is extremely powerful, absolutely immeasurable. So what does that peak into the near future saying? Well, will anybody be able to disrupt the planet? We call it our planet because we live on the surface. Will anybody be able to invade and cause harm and distrust? No. Never. Because we are the supreme power. And it's just crazy that for so long we've been convinced that we're not. Totally the opposite of our natural state of being. This is why so many of us on this planet feel kind of like out of kilter, you know, not really snugly fitting in. We do it, you know, it's not like anybody notices, but we know within us that it just isn't quite right. And since we've got that childlike curiosity, we want to know. What is? How come things are just not, have never been. And those are the people that have started to comprehend the fact that this isn't, look, this is not our natural state of being. Bliss, joy, happiness is our natural state of being. Deep eternal love for ourselves is our natural state of being. What we have been existing in is not our natural state of being. It's a polar opposite. Why do you think there's so much distrust? Why there's so much upheaval, right? When you help someone, you give it to them, you're not expecting anything. You give the help. That's it. It's because it's from your heart mind. It's not, oh, what am I going to get out of this? And the stress factors and the anxiety factors and the fear factors. I mean, we could go on and on and on. How is that generated? Well, because we're in ego-mind control. That's it. Bottom line is that we're in ego-mind control and we're directed, guided, managed, supervised by our ego minds. And some of us are beginning to figure this out. So we want, and how do you learn? How do you learn about the ego mind? You leave it alone. That's what these meditations partly are for. It teaches you to leave the ego mind alone, stay in the now where the ego mind does not exist. Relaxed into the body, because that's the only way you're going to relax. So you're relaxed in the body, and all you're focused on is the absolute moment to moment. Your breath rising and falling. That's it. And by doing that, you begin to comprehend the fact that the ego mind isn't me. It's a construct. It's an illusion. And guess who put it there? The collective consciousness, which we're part of. Put it there. Why? That's how we learn. That's how we know the difference. See, the ego mind was never intended to be there for thousands of lifetimes. And then on top of it, what happens to us is that we get shocked and we have amnesia. It's quite an interesting situation that we move ourselves into without authority of knowing. Now, you figure it out. There's pros and cons. If you're not in heart-mind fully, there's pros and cons about knowing your past existences. Especially if the ego mind is in charge. That's why you don't remember, because you're still in ego mind. There is nothing that can hold us gods down except ourselves. There is nothing that can stop us gods except ourselves. And we've been in this cycle for, I'd say, you might as well say forever. And this is what's kept us in this kind of like a aquarium where, you've got four sides and you just keep swimming around. And it's really true when you in order for any of us to manifest what our heart is yearning for in this life, simply and consistently emit a high positive vibration. And this happens by tapping into those thoughts and feelings that make you feel great about life. Whatever you continuously focus your attention on, we know this, is what grows and is what you will be manifesting more of down the road. We are literally machines at manifesting. And we don't even know it. Isn't that something? And another thing, people say, well, can't we stop manifesting? No, you can't. You cannot stop manifesting as long as you have a body. And see, we naturally attract whatever we are focusing our attention upon. It's proven without a doubt, without rebuttal. It's a fact. How do you think they've been able to control their civilization for so long? Using its own power against it. You see, you look at your body is like the engine of this magical machine. And your mind, the brakes, gas, and steering wheel. The manifesting fuel is spirit, which is something you cannot lose, create, or need to fill up. It is forever flowing inside you, as you. It is your essential nature. So one might say, well, then why in the heck aren't we all manifesting what we want and having wonderful lives? Because we don't believe we can. No matter what you do, think, or believe, you can never lose the connection with the divine fuel inside you, ever, period. Right? And, it could get buried beneath many layers of muck created by the mind. Yet once we investigate the source of any block, truly uncover its mask, we will discover the block was never real to begin with. It was all imagined. All of our issues, every one of them, in this life and past lives, every situation, every worry, stress, anxiety, all of it, and the fun stuff too, is created by our mind. Once you embrace that and comprehend that, then you know that you must master the mind. Now, with all of the distractions, that's why most of us never do. It's not, okay, so it may seem difficult, but it really isn't, except because of the habit. It may be. When we are able to keep our mind on what we truly desire for even a few minutes a day, we will manifest it into our life at the speed of light. But the issue is that we're so distracted so quickly that we're flying all over the place. So if you focus for like maybe 3 minutes, 4, 5, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day on what you truly desire, you'll bring it into your life at the speed of light. See, we have to learn, we choose to learn how to hold our attention on one thing in a focused and yet non-rigid way for an extended period of time is your first manifesting secret. Discovering the spiritual being that we all are is the key to cultivating this focused attention. And what is most needed to achieve this monumental feat is a gentle, curious, and constant exploration of the truth of who and what you really are. This is something that cannot be described in words, yet the adventure to reveal this great gem within it is why you're actually here. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out.
Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Relaxed into the body. Focus on your breath, rising and falling. You are untouched by life. Some days life is full of sunshine and happy skies. Other days there are only thunder clouds and gloomy rain. No matter what the weather is, remember your infinite inner spiritual nature always remains untouched. Just like the vast sky remains unaffected by the storms passing through it. Your true spiritual nature exists beyond all of life's weather. Today's your day to sit back. Behind your worried mind, breathe deeply, relax, and really enjoy whatever today's forecast will be. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We'll return here Friday, November 22nd, 2024. After 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. And after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, purest of the purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's happening within you, nor outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.